You're listening to the Sales for the Nigerian Wedding Industry podcast, and I'm your host, Abuja-based photographer Tavishima Ayede. In the last episode, we took a detour to look at a really bad disease that wedding photographers have, which is GAS, G-A-S. It leads them to focus on technique, the technical aspects of photography, and on gear, rather than focusing on improving the marketing function of the business as a way to grow. Now, GAS is an acronym for Gear Acquisition Syndrome, for those of you who haven't listened to the previous episode. And it's not a term that I made up. It's something that I picked up from the American wedding photographer blogosphere, if we could put it that way, about maybe 2 or 3 years ago. So now today, we're going to ease on back from the detour, and we're going to return to the series I've been doing on the intro to personal sales for wedding planners. And to do that, to ease on back into it, we're going to reintroduce a pivotal question that we've asked several times in the podcast for those of you who are catching us midstream and haven't heard of it before. That's the whole thing about what is the purpose of a business. I'm not going to go into everything in detail, but in summary, if you're interested in particulars, just scroll down in your feed and you'll be able to see the older posts where I discuss some of these ideas. So the purpose of a business is to create a customer. You create a customer through your marketing function. And so by extension, our purpose as wedding industry professionals, our purpose as wedding photographers, as wedding planners, as cake artists, as MCs, as videographers, whatever it is that we do in the wedding industry, by extension, our purpose is first and foremost to be a marketer and a salesperson. So my primary purpose is not to be a wedding photographer per se. My primary purpose, first and foremost, is to be a marketer and a salesperson, because it's only when I fulfill those functions and other marketing related functions that I get the brides and the grooms that will be my clients anyway as a wedding photographer. Now, there's also the related idea that customers are worth more over the long term. And so because of that, we have to look for creative ways to stay in touch. The whole aim is to make sure that the initial transaction that we get from our brides and grooms becomes a source of lifetime revenue, which is also an idea that I handled in a few podcasts, maybe 3 or 4 episodes before this, where we got an introduction to the idea of the customer lifetime value. So this is just a summary to show, that's for those of you who are catching us midstream, who haven't been listening from day one. This is just a summary to show where we're at in the journey and where we're heading to. So the regular programming is going to resume at the next episode. And before I sign off, a few things to clarify. I've spoken with my friend and I've been able to confirm that the frame wasn't sold for $7,000, but it was sold for a few thousand quid. I'm not going to say how much exactly it was. Regardless of whether the frame that I made reference to in the previous episode, whether it was $7,000 or $17,000 or 70, the principle still stands the same. That if in our professional networks you come across someone who's been able to achieve that, you're better off doubling down on the business aspects to try and find out how the person was able to make such a sale, how he negotiated it, how he or she found the buyer, all these instrumental things along the business sense, rather than focusing on the technical aspects. So in our own case, what camera he shot it with, or assuming you're a baker, what kind of oven she did the baking in. So that's it for today. Twitter tidbit. I saw something from the Business Insider handle, and the article, I can't remember the title, but the article was examining the idea of whether introverts can be the next generation of business leaders. The reason why I'm putting this up, why I'm bringing this to your notice, is because this is also going to be part of some of the topics that I intend to address in the future, because there are a couple of people in the wedding industry. I've run into wedding planners and wedding photographers who are of the opinion that they cannot sell because they are introverted. So that is something that we're also going to look into in the future. So thank you very much, guys, for listening. For those of you who have questions, comments, queries, or suggestions, you can hit me up on email. My email address is ayede.tave@gmail.com. That is ayede.taver@gmail.com. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll catch you guys on the next episode. Also, I'll try to remember in the future to keep the recordings to between 5 and 10 minutes, as I've been doing traditionally from the beginning. But I'd like to apologize for the episode before and some other episodes down the line. There are just some topics that get me hot and bothered, quite frankly, and so sometimes I just keep on ranting and I forget to keep an eye on the clock. So thank you very much, guys, for listening. I'll catch you all on the next episode.